Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's second video. We're going to have a look at the ECMWF 42-day model for today's second video. So this is like a 30-day look ahead for Europe, but we will also extend out to weeks 5 and 6 data as well. Yeah, that takes us into like the middle of November, so I should get on that for you in a second. Just say about the first video released today was our 7 AM forecast, and we're going to change the 14-day with all of the regular features coming up for you later on this afternoon. Please like, share, subscribe on all other videos. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Right, let's get on with the extended European outlook then. And we're going to start off with the EC mean sea level pressure anomaly for week 1, which takes us through the current week, which is going to be the 11th through to the 18th of October. Thank you so much to ECMWF.int for supplying these charts, by the way. So the weekend will have high pressure across western parts of Europe. There's a ridge extending in from the Atlantic into Ireland, the UK, down into France, and also down towards Spain and Portugal as well. Deep trough low pressure over Scandinavia, and that trough sort of extends down the eastern side of Europe as well. So many parts of Europe actually on the cold side of the jet stream here, especially when we're close to this trough of low pressure. So actually quite cool and unsettled, I would have thought. Many northern and eastern parts of Europe. Out in the west, protected by this ridge of high pressure, it will be drier and somewhat milder as well. This is the 500 millibar height on the flow chart for week 1, with the area of above average heights again extending through Western Europe and out into the North Atlantic. The trough of below average heights low pressure in from Scandinavia into eastern parts of Europe. Again, the jet stream plunging southwards rather like that. So definite implication that northern and eastern, perhaps some central parts of Europe, are coldest with this. Temperature anomalies then for week 1 look like that. So mild average in the far west of Europe, much as Spain, Portugal, Ireland, and western and northern parts of Britain, looking pretty mild there. Otherwise, it's quite a cool scene, actually, anywhere from France all the way over towards the Black Sea, looking cooler or colder than average, especially so in this central part of the Med and into southeastern part of Europe, so around Italy and then towards the Balkans. There we're talking about temperature almost around 3 to 6 degrees below average, so really quite cold in the east and the southeast of Europe. Scandinavia also looking rather cool, but the far northeast of Europe and into the northwest of Russia does look a little bit milder through there. Precipitation anomalies for week 1 show that most areas are drier than average. We have got some exceptions. This far southeastern corner, particularly around Greece and Turkey, is coming out significantly wetter than average. Should be some big thunderstorms through there, I would have thought, in the weekend. And then going further north was really central north parts of Scandinavia and around northeastern Europe as well. Just looking a little bit cooler. It's a little bit wetter, I should say, through there. Otherwise, though, it's generally quite a dry scene. Most parts of Western Europe looking particularly dry under the ridge of high pressure. But even in these eastern parts of Europe, some areas are coming out a little bit drier than average through there as well. So generally quite a dry scene through many parts of Europe in the week ahead. Right, week 2 will be the 18th to 25th of October. We go flat and zonal then. So high pressure begins to slip down in towards the Mediterranean. At the same time, low pressure is developing around Scandinavia, or still around Scandinavia, but developing more sort of in the North Atlantic, and just a generally sort of westerly type look about this. So that means that many southern parts of Europe should go drier and warmer with the high pressure, whereas northern and northwestern Europe with the low pressure will be more unsettled, wetter and windier. This is how the 500 millibar height on the flow chart looks. Again, very indicative of being flat, westerly and zonal. Lots of low pressure to the north, or below average heights to the north. Above average heights, high pressure to the south. And in between, yes, we're bringing in that flat, zonal westerly flow. The temperature anomaly looks like that. So coldest temperatures like in this southeastern and eastern part of Europe. So it is quite chilly actually still through like southern Italy in towards Greece and Turkey, going north in towards the Black Sea, and just getting towards southern parts of the Ukraine, perhaps. Generally, it's cooler than average in those areas. At the same time, though, much of northern and western Europe actually going milder than average. So we see above average temperatures right away from Ireland and Portugal in the far west, all the way over towards the Baltic Sea and those northeastern countries like Latvia, Estonia, for example, in the far northeast of Europe. So definitely a milder week for northern and western Europe, cooler for southeastern parts of Europe. Precipitation-wise, we look like that. North-south split confirmed, so very wet in the northwest. We see that, again, much of Scandinavia, northern parts of Germany, the Low Countries, Belgium, Holland, Netherlands, UK and Ireland forecast to be quite substantially wetter than normal. Then we get this sway that's around average from like France to western parts of Russia, and then south of that we've got all high pressure. That's where it's drier than normal from Spain and Portugal in the west, all the way over to Greece and Turkey in the east. Notice it's significantly drier for week 2 for Greece compared to the deluge that's coming in the week ahead. Week 3 will be the 25th of October to the 1st of November. We continue with this sort of north-south split, so again, lots of low pressure across particularly northwestern and far northern parts of Europe. So Scandinavia again looking quite unsettled. The ridge of high pressure may be strengthening and pushing northwards a little bit from the Med up the western side of Europe especially. So it might start to turn, particularly Ireland and England, Wales drier. Scotland still looking quite unsettled. Unsettled into the eastern part of Europe as well, dry into southeast Europe with the area of high pressure though. Week 3, 500 millibar height anomaly does show that that ridge of above average height strengthens, particularly across these western and southwestern parts of Europe. Still below average height, so low pressure up to the north, still jet stream going through something a little bit like that. The temperature anomaly looks like that. So generally it's mild and average across many western parts of Europe again. Above average temperatures seen from Spain, Portugal, all the way up into Ireland and the UK. It's a little bit cooler though in the southeast corner. Although the cooler average temperatures are sort of fading away as we get towards the end of October. So most parts of Europe are actually looking quite mild. We do have this eastern part of Europe that's not got much of a signal, and many parts of Scandinavia have no signal either, although Denmark does come away milder than average. And week 3 precipitation anomaly, again looking quite unsettled across much of northern Europe. You see where the low pressure is and the jet stream, all going to be up here coming in off the Atlantic. This is where the high pressure is, down across the southern and southwestern parts of Europe. So the Med looking pretty dry, northern Europe looking quite wet. Right, week 4 will be the 1st through to the 8th of November, and the further out we go, the more unreliable this is all getting. So we go through into the first week of November, and we have the below average height still there over Scandinavia. It can be quite an unsettled month, anyway, 4 weeks for much of northern Europe. Low pressure still there across Scandinavia and back into western Europe. High pressure looks like it's pushing over more towards this southeastern side of the Mediterranean. They have this large area where it's not really all that clear what's going on, where we've got those white colours. Let's have a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly. It looks like that. So the ridge is definitely sort of pushing over through the central and eastern side of the Med. Still with below pressure, but below average heights for Scandinavia, Ireland and the UK. So quite an unsettled start to November across northern and western parts of Europe, probably. The temperature anomaly is looking like that, a little bit cooler than average in this far southeastern corner and around Iceland and northern Scandinavia. Otherwise, most parts of Europe actually coming away milder than average, above average temperatures dominating into the early part of November. And the precipitation anomaly shows a northwest southeast split, so dry than average in the southeastern corner, particularly from like Italy, Corsica, Sardinia, over towards Greece and up towards Black Sea. Whereas it looks wetter than average. It's a week zero because it's like week 4, but it does look wetter than average for much of northern, western and northwest Europe. France all the way up to Scandinavia coming out wetter than normal, as is northeastern parts of Europe. Right, so that's the 30-day look ahead done. Let's just go through weeks 5 and 6 data whilst we're here, because why not? So this has been week 5 mean sea level pressure anomaly. It looks like that. Very weak signal. We can see we've got low pressure favoured here across northern and northeast parts of Europe. That'll probably be cold. That will bring winter into the north and northeastern Europe. It looks like we might have a little bit of a mid-Atlantic ridge that might imply something a little bit colder going on across western parts of Europe as well. And the high pressure that dominates October and the beginning of November through much of November, it looks like it's fading away to the far southeastern corner of the Mediterranean. The week 500 millibar height anomaly looks like that. So again, this is where it's going to be particularly cold, I think. This northeast part of Europe, the jet stream digging through there will bring Arctic air in with that trough of low pressure. So winter bites in that northern and northeastern part of Europe. A high pressure out in the Atlantic could bring in the wind from like a northwesterly direction into the west of Europe. So that could be quite cool. Warmest weather, I would have thought, likely to still be in this southeastern part of Europe. The temperature anomaly for week 5 looks like that. Definite cool down going on. Going slightly cooler than average around sort of Iceland and towards Scandinavia. Still mild than average across southern parts of Europe. Otherwise, not much of a signal. I reckon that's going cooler, particularly in the north and the north, or colder, particularly in the north and northeast of Europe. Precipitation-wise, looks like that. Very weak signals by this point. Drier than average in the far south and southeast. Perhaps a little bit wetter than average through western and maybe northern parts of Europe. And as it gets colder, of course, you have to factor in, but particularly Scandinavia and northeast Europe, around Baltic Sea areas, we could see increasing signals for snow through there. And then finally, week 6 with the mean sea level pressure anomaly looks like that. A really weak signal. But again, we have got like a mid-Atlantic ridge type pattern heading up towards Greenland. So you would have thought that's likely to be bringing in potentially quite cold air into northern and western parts of Europe. And it is such a weak signal, it's hard to draw too many conclusions with that. This is the 500 millibar height anomaly. Again, does show above average heights in the Atlantic up towards Greenland. So yeah, you know, we might be bringing something a little bit colder into northern and western Europe there as we go on into the middle and second half of November. Very weak signal for the temperature anomaly, just no signal really. It's cold average around Iceland, mild average through the Atlantic, but for Europe, not much of a signal. And precipitation-wise, lastly, again, really weak signals, maybe hinting at still being a little bit on the unsettled side for northern and west parts of Europe. But it's such a weak signal that you cannot draw too many conclusions. You can see where that area of high pressure is in the Atlantic, though, where it's drier through here and heading up towards Greenland. So, yeah, we might see something a little bit colder into November, but certainly for the rest of October, it looks like it's going to be pretty unsettled for northern Europe and driest across southern parts of Europe. So a classic north-south split, which is very indicative of autumn, really, for Europe. So all looking quite typical for the time of the year. Wettest in the north, driest in the south. And then we get into November, and we might start to see something a bit colder then setting up, particularly across northern parts of Europe. Just a snapshot of what this model is showing. Remember, any forecast beyond 5-7 days comes with big health warnings and large pinches of salt. So, yeah, it could look completely different, you know, when we look at this. Again, we will look at it again on Friday or Saturday. Not sure it'll be Friday or Saturday. You know, focusing on the UK and Ireland. Next extended look ahead with the EC extended model for Europe will be next Tuesday as always. Right, so we'll be back later on with the 10 to 14 deb. It's going to include all upgrade features, so come back for that then. But this week's European Outlook Extended, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.